For the dumpster.
It's not, didn't say June 7th?
What did it say, June 7th?
May 13th,
I think on the website it
27th
says,
annual dumpster day.
May 13th is the day I posted the notice, but that's not the date of the,
okay,
you should be able to get the link if you click on,
okay.
I tested it before I went out of there.
May 13th, day, dumpster day today.
I keep losing the internet.
Well, there's been Empire issues on and off all day long
What about
today.
this one?
That's the highway department.
We're too far away from,
You won't get the highway one and stay.
Oh, I didn't notice that one.
You've gotta have the town of Hector without the dots, without the dashes between the words.
Yeah, and I have no internet again.
Which one?
I just got it back
we
again.
did.
I did too for a minute.
All right, let's once again figure out a couple of IT problems and we'll get started.
Whoa.
So I'm on.
That's not right.
No, which means the server's not
Well, I
right.
can see, you guys are on, Jane and Justin.
I just got back on, yeah.
Jess is here. We're just waiting for Rebecca. And it's live on Facebook and YouTube. And
Excellent.
recording's ready when it's paused, ready when we're done.
Last time I couldn't open. What I have to do is sign it. It's just-
There you go.
Yeah,
There you are.
I was before too.
There you go.
Okay, okay. See if we keep it.
Okay,
See how long we
We're
keep it,
ready when you're
Jane.
ready.
I'd like to call the May audit meeting of the town of Hector to order. Please rise, and we're going to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from April 8th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for April 8th by seeing one thing on page 2.
Yes.
Did you catch that already, Jane? We have a new council person, Mary Ann.
No. I'll fix it.
That's all I
Thank you.
noticed.
Yep. So I will fix that, so if you approve them as corrected.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Well, first and a second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We do not have any. We have one. We need to transfer $2,500 from A 1990.4 contingency to A 7110.407 Mech Park.
That's to take down the willow trees.
Yep.
And we didn't fund,
We didn't fund that this year. We funded it last year.
right.
So
I will make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
we have a first and a second. Any further questions or comments?
So this is just moving it from the general from last year to
Well,
this
the
year.
contingency account. We approved this. This is the 2 trees that were removed at Mech Park that were hanging out over the power lines and that could have fallen and would have reached to the road if they had come down. They're standing at a significant angle, and so out of the interest of public safety, we approved last year the removal, and it didn't happen until a couple weeks ago. We have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye. That is the only budget amendment. so we can move on to pay the bills.
I'll make the motion to approve the bills as audited.
Second the motion.
Any further questions on this? All right, hearing none. All in favor of paying the bills as audited? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Now, we're gonna move on to Schuyler County Legislator updates. Larry, you got anything for us today?
Well, I'm here. I tell you, I'd like to know something about sales tax. I found out last night, we actually get 3 payments from the state. Our first payment for April, scared the living peanuts out of it, is 2% lower than last year. Then we got our final payment Monday. And we got a payment of $4,000, anyway, it's 5.25% above budget now, which is pretty darn good. We're sitting at $4,311,105. And, it's about 5% increase, which is pretty nice. Also, some people are worried about the sewer project, for that in 414. And I asked Justin if he got his copy, and he says, no, but I told him how to get a hold of it. We got our final report from LaBella. It's only 585 pages. They wanted to have a meeting, but today and
Today or
yesterday,
tomorrow?
we're looking at it and say, you gotta be kidding me. But we want to review it and have a meeting with LaBella and get everything cleaned up.
So Larry, the report is about what it could cost or what would happen?
That's the next phase.
Okay, so the report is about,
This is more or less what they recommend to the next phase. Okay, we can't tell you much until we read it, but there's a lot there. But I know from talking to LaBella, a few of the things they want before we get into next phase, they'd like to have a better feel of how many inadequate sewers we have. We've been told 25%, but I know we got more than that. I really do. I know in the village,
who comes up with that 25%?
the county. Our sewer man down there.
Oh.
And he said, well, our records show that. I said, but have you gone out and checked any of them? Well, no. I said, and he's just going by what he has to do for new ones, et cetera. But I still feel that we're a lot better than 25%. Also, one of the things they wanted me to mention, I hate this word, they want to know if we're going to be looking into zoning or land use. Both, I know the village, we got a committee set up, they're going to be looking into it, and they're asking about the town. And I don't know where you guys stand, I haven't talked to Justin about it.
There's nothing planned at this time.
Pardon me?
Nothing in the planning at this time.
Why I say I hate that word, 'cause I sat on the zoning commission for 3.5 years, so, that was a fair. And it's gonna take a while to get everything set up, so. And last night, I don't know how you guys are gonna be doing your budgets, we're starting to worry about ours. Funding is crazy, you don't know where anything's coming from. For Medicaid especially, we did send a resolution to the state telling them we don't like the idea of what they're doing. A lot more detail, it's 2 pages, but it's scary what they're trying to cut. And it's not just that. We had the daycare people in last night. They're worried if they're even gonna, have enough funds to run their daycare, which is scary. We all need it. I'm sorry. So, the county will see what we can do to fix it. But, if we fix it, that means more money out of the taxes. So, it's just a scary situation right now until the state and federal government settle down and tell us really what's going on. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Amanda, that's what I thought. Schuyler County Public Health, Amanda is going to provide us with a presentation.
I've heard it before, so I'm believing.
I'll put together a packet for you guys for everything that I'm gonna talk about. I'm just gonna give like a brief update for what's going on with public health right now. So the first thing in the packet there is just like a brochure with all of our programs. Nothing has really changed since the last time I was here. I'm sorry. Extra. So, yeah, so the first thing is the brochure. It's like just the public health programming. None of our programs have really changed since the last time I was here. So, you have that there. If anybody has any questions about anything, you can give us a call. The next thing in the package there is the 2025 rabies clinic schedule. I will highlight our next clinic is this coming Saturday in the town of Reading. It is from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's no cost. Donations are appreciated. The next one will be Monday, June 23rd from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Cayuta Town Barn. So we've got a bunch coming this year.
I've got a quick question on this,
Yes.
and I appreciate you coming and sharing this with us, but
Sure.
there's a number of us that are wondering why or when or how we could get one back here in the town of Hector. It's been years since there's been a clinic in the town of Hector, and we happen to have a fairly large town, and it doesn't seem unreasonable to expect one to show up in our township.
Yes, so people way before me at some point put together like a rotation for the for the township. So like this year we targeted Cayuta, Reading, and Orange. I will check the schedule when I get back in the office tomorrow, and I can get a hold of you guys and let you know when the next one. I don't know if it's going to be like the next year that we'll start.
I mean, I would appreciate that because
Yeah.
it's been 6 or 8 years since it's been there.
How's that? Okay. All
We've
right.
been kind of left off the rotation.
Okay, yeah, let me check the schedule and then I'll see, and then we can, if you're not on there at all, then we can see about next year.
Okay.
So are these clinics only for the residents of the town that they're in?
Nope, so honestly, anybody can come from anywhere. We get a bunch of people from Yates County, Chemung County coming to our clinics, so it's, obviously it's here for Schuyler County residents. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We don't check residency or anything like that. We just want to get people, pets vaccinated. That's the priority.
Yeah, so at least we have that anyway, if we can't, it's not in Hector.
Yeah.
Just putting these dates out is good.
Yeah, no, but it is good to have them more local, for people who don't have an easy time getting around.
Oh, yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah. The next thing, and if anybody wants a copy of the schedule, let me know. I do have a few copies left. There is also, you can also always go on our website. We keep it updated on our website as well. And then starting this year, we've started doing pre-registrations as well. So people can go on the website and pre-register. It should get you through the line faster.
I'll take this stuff home, so.
Oh, yes, sorry.
That's okay.
And then I just wanted to give a brief 2024 rabies data update. So at our free clinics for 2024, we vaccinated 369 dogs, 165 cats, and 1 ferret for a total of 535 animals. In 2024, we submitted 15 animals for rabies testing. 3 animals tested positive, and all potential exposures were identified and offered rabies post-exposure treatment. And 70%, a lot of our cases are, a lot like domestic animals biting somebody. So in 2024, 70% of domestic animals were up to date on their rabies vaccination at the time of a biting incident. And this is up from only 40% in 2023, so that's great. The other thing that I have in there, I think, is the avian influenza information sheet. So it's updated as of February 4th, because nothing really has changed since then. We've actually been seeing it seems like we've been seeing less sick or dead birds in the area. So at this point, public health isn't going to do anything about this unless there was like a human case. Then we would step in and start doing contact tracing and stuff like that. As of right now, if you see any dead birds or if you suspect avian flu in any animals around, those reports would go to the DEC and they would be the ones to investigate. And then we also have information about all this on our website as well. And then the last thing that I wanted to highlight is one of our staff is doing a youth mental health first aid training at the Human Services Complex in Montour Falls. On Saturday, May 31st, it is from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. It is kind of a long training, but it's very, very in-depth. It teaches people how to identify mental health or substance use challenges in youth and how to approach them, and then also how to find them the support that they need. So it's a really valuable training. Anybody who does the training walks away with a 3-year certification. It's kind of the idea behind it is like, regular first aid. So like you're there to help the person until paramedics get there or they can get to a doctor. So mental health first aid is kind of the same idea. You're just there. You're not you won't become a counselor. You won't be expected to counsel anybody. But you can provide support until they can get to that sort of professional help. So that is going on. So share that information with anybody that might be interested in that. Again, any of this stuff, a lot of this stuff is advertised on our website, or if anybody has any questions about anything, you can call our office and ask who to speak to about this stuff. So that was what I had.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And an update from the Schuyler County Historical Society. Marty.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to bring your Jada's too there if you give one to
I'll
Justin.
give one to Justin, yeah, no problem.
And there's two there also. For some reason, after I printed these off, they kind of stick together. I have extras here. If you'd like to pass them around, you're welcome to see them. I'm going to take one from you. Thank you. There we go. Each year, the Schuyler County Board of Trustees for the Historical Society try to get out to all the municipalities and townships to give them an annual report back since you avail yourselves of our services and join with us each year. We come to also say thank you for that and to give you an idea of what our programs are, our membership, our ongoing outreach, collaborations and partnerships and other improvements. We are in the start of a capital project also to be adding an addition on to the Schuyler County Historical Society, including handicap accessibility with an elevator. So there's a lot of things happening, so I thought I'd be here tonight to kind of give you an update. But I thought I'd also highlight the things we've done in the town of Hector so that you kind of get a feel for that. The application, first of all, for our budget, you can see there for the year, we have one director at 35 hours, one museum assistant at 20 hours. The TAP grant we get from the Chamber of Commerce each year currently totals $25,000. And on the second page, you'll see where we also received a New York Forward grant for $792,000 through the village of Montour Falls. And we have just received the contracts from the state of New York, and we'll start breaking ground in November. So exciting time. We do have another grant still out in the state of New York. We were expecting to hear about it before today, but we still are waiting. And we have a $300,000 capital fund project going on right now. If any of you have a heart that's passionate about history, if you would consider giving towards our capital project for that last $300,000, it would help us move the process along, and we would be heartily grateful. Going back to membership, we now have currently 330 members. Last year, we're up this year. And you can see how it breaks out. You'll notice I hand wrote senior in there at one point because we had supporter in there twice. I had to call back to the board and ask them to clarify. The first one's senior supporters, and the second one is all others, okay, that are at the supporter level. The Lawrence Chapel up in Odessa, we have been applied for the national, the state and national park historic registry. We received both. All three of our buildings now, the Brick Tavern Museum, the Lee School, and the Lawrence Chapel now are all on the state and national historic registry. And we had the open house for that historic registry of the Lawrence Chapel last weekend. It was a fabulous day. It was beautiful. Many people there adhering our history and walking the grounds. If you don't know, the Lawrence family were one of the original families after the Revolutionary War that were bought into the Flint Watkins Purchase. The town of Hector, we weren't involved in that. We were military lots granted to the soldiers for the Revolutionary War. So if you live in the town of Hector, you'll notice that way back in your abstract somewhere, it will say military lot such and such. It was because it was awarded to a military soldier during the Revolutionary War as payment for his services. They didn't have much else to give him. They had land. So our programming for last year was quite extensive, but I'd like to highlight Hattie's War. You'll see it partway down on the programming list. Peter Serco's family is from Hector, and he wrote about his great-grandmother who grew up in the town of Hector. And that story is aimed towards middle school type of readers. He came in May with his family that lived in that area, and he gave a presentation at the Logan Landmark. And it was so exciting. And the school, he also went to the school district and spoke to the junior high faculty and students. And this year they have bought his book as part of the reading for, this is the Watkins Glen School District, for the 8th grade reading list. And so they are reading about the Civil War and the family that lost their dad in the Civil War, and from the town of Hector, and what life was like just after the war. So a little bit of our town of Hector history being used by our 8th grade students, and he will now appear this year with the students via Zoom in the classroom. And they'll get to ask questions as they're reading and have an interchange with the author. So I thought you might like to hear about that. We are continuing to be a presence at the Hector Family Affair, and we will be again this year. We've enjoyed being there and helping your Hector Fair get its restart and focus on families. We think it's terrific. This last year, we focused on 75 years of road racing, and our exhibit ran from March until December or November of this past year. I helped curate it with two very good racing historians, Jim Scaptura and Bill Green. And we had an opening that had the head of the track there. Also, most of the people from the research library, the Motor Racing Research Library, and we had the most foot traffic through our building for that exhibit in our history. Over 1,000 people came by and saw that exhibit. So a lot of things are going. We still always offer our historic walks in all 4 municipalities. That's Odessa, Montour, Watkins Glen, and Burdett. We don't offer historic walks out in the countryside, but we do offer them in all our municipalities. We also have lakefront history walks and also open houses, and we take part in community days such as the Harvest Festival in Montour Falls, and it was coming up in July as Odessa Community Days too. We are split that day. Your Odessa's Community Days are on the same weekend as the Hector Fair, and we're making sure we have enough staff to go both directions. So a lot of things written there. I hope you'll take time to read through them. Any additional outreach that we can be of any help, we have our journal and our Vista newsletter. Our journal is put out by a Schuyler County historian, Gary Emerson. One of his talks in February of this year had 140 people at it. I'm head of programming for Schuyler County Historical Society, and I put up a new program of his. I was in a meeting with him, and I said, "You got anything new on the canal system?" He said, "How about the crazy stories?" I said, "Okay, go for it, Gary." So we put up the crazy stories of the canals, and especially the Chemung Canal, which is in part in Schuyler County before it was closed. And we had 140 people show up. So it's interesting that the history of our county seems to be having a great renaissance with people and enjoying it. So if there's anything else I can answer for you, or please feel free, give us a call anytime. If you need any history or research, we're more than happy. I just met your historian, not for the first time. Sandy and I have known each other for a long time. We were both at a meeting for this region for historians in Montour last weekend. So she and I put our heads together on a couple of projects that have to do with the Haudenosaunee. We are celebrating the 250th year of our United States. With the start of the Revolutionary War, which was 1776. It's also the 250th anniversary of the Army. And just before I got here today, I got in touch with the Army. Jane A. Delano was from Schuyler County. She was head of the nursing, first of one to organize the nursing internally within the Army, and she was from Schuyler County. They just put out on the Army website a whole piece on her about a month ago. I texted my daughter, who's stationed at Fort Sam Houston. She's a lieutenant colonel in the Army, and she happens to be commander of the 187 Medical Battalion, which oversees all medical training for the Army. So I said to her, "What can you do for me for Jane A. Delano?" She just contacted the head of the nursing corps, and they are going to have a dedication of the flag at Fort Sam Houston and a certificate to go with it in honor of Jane A. Delano, and it's coming to us. And we'll have something special to honor that. A really big deal that we have that part here is our history. She was the one that ended up organizing the Red Cross nursing program, the Army nursing program, and brought it with the Nurses Association of the United States. All three of those together. And so you got to hear that first. The Historical Society hasn't even heard that yet because I just got it on my phone as it's coming in. So I hope you'll be excited about our programs we're offering this year on the Seneca Lake and all our connections with the Erie Canal waterways because they're celebrating their 200th year this year. So a lot of our programs are themes that are connected to the canal system. Okay, any questions I can answer?
Just on that canal system, is there going to be any or any presentations by Art Cohn, who's been studying the canal boats?
He was supposed to have been here on the 28th of April. We had our annual meeting and he was the speaker. He came, he was at the bed and breakfast. He called our executive director, Heather, and he said, "I'm terribly sick." He had come down either with the flu or COVID. And so he had to call Rochester, and his captain of his boat came all the way from Rochester and gave the presentation. And all about the under Seneca Lake. If you want to know, we asked Bob Beardsley, who was Bradley, confusing a family in Schuyler County. Bradley, and we asked him, since he lives in Webster, in Rochester, if he'd like to come back in the fall. We really enjoyed his talk. And he had something that he and Art Cohn noticed on the bottom of Seneca Lake, and they couldn't figure it out. It was the canal boats that had sunk at one point in our history. And the ones on Seneca Lake had a very unusual characteristic. It was a metal plate that came up the front of the canal boat with kind of like an oval steel something on the front of it. And he said Art Cohn was finding this all over the bottom of the canal boats that were at the bottom of Seneca Lake, and they weren't sure what it was. So after he asked for questions, I raised my hand and said, the steamboats used to carry the canal boats down the lake because you can't use mules and horses to carry canal boats down the lake. Steamboats used to hook onto them, and that was where they hooked onto the canal boats to tow them the full length of the lake. And they hooked several canal boats, up to 10, behind a steamboat and pull them from north to south and south to north. So he goes, "Why didn't we know this?" And I said, "You forgot to ask somebody that lived here." So we were able to solve a mystery for Art Cohn and his captain about what that steel hook was on it, like a handle almost on the front of the boat. Oh well, our history is at the bottom of the lake. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. This time we're going to open the meeting to public comment. It's 10 minutes. If you have something you'd like to ask or share with us, please let us know. And please identify yourself and where you live in the town if you do. so choose. Anybody? Anybody showing up online with questions?
I don't see
I don't see anything else.
All right, if there is no public comment, we're gonna close that and move on to our department reports, and we're gonna start with the Sustainability Committee.
Hello, everybody. So the Hector Sustainability Committee partnered with the Montreux Falls Sustainability Committee, and we had 2 repair cafes. There's one on April 26th, the second on May 3rd. They were, I think, very successful. We'll have more detailed statistics later, but we had around 60 people show up with all sorts of things to repair, like stuffed animals and lamps and vacuum cleaners and all sorts of electronic gadgets. I think we had a really nice sense of community there, a lot of people that were really positive and smiling, and lots of good food. We wanted to thank the Hector and Montreux Falls Fire Companies for letting us use their facilities. Also, we made about $300 in donations from people that brought things in, and we would like to pay some of that forward to the fire companies. Do we need a resolution from the town board to do that?
You do or do you?
Do we?
I think if it was directly donated to you, in my opinion, it would be no.
Are they a separate nonprofit though? That's a good question. So if name was Met Park, then they're a nonprofit, but I don't know if they're separate entities. Well, we just, if we just do a board resolution.
Right,
Yeah.
but if in doubt, just do a resolution that authorizes them, to share that $300 in donations with the 2 fire companies where I would assume the 2 where the,
Montreux Falls and Hector.
where the repair cafes were.
Last year, we used the donations to buy parts.
Mhm.
But we have a little bit of that money left over, and plus we would probably hold back a little bit of this money. But we'd like to reimburse the fire companies for the use of their facilities. Okay. so
Pass the
I'll do it.
resolution. Anybody?
Yeah, do you have a specific amount you want to donate?
We were thinking of 100 each.
Okay. I'd make a resolution to allow to move money from the repair cafe donation line to the $100 to the Montreux Falls and Hector Fire Companies. Each.
I'll second it.
We have a first and a second. Questions and comments about it? I have a question. Has that money already been given to us?
No,
or
I'm
is it
supposed to
in-
bring it tonight.
Aha.
I'm very sorry. It'll come, it'll come.
It's just in a jar.
It did not make it on my to-do list. As I got here, I was like, money. So,
All right. So we have a first and a second. Are there any other questions or comments before we vote?
Are they both actually fire companies or is one got a different name?
That's a good question.
Hector's Fire Company, I'm not sure about Montreux.
Montour Falls would be a
Montreux is
department,
probably a fire department.
but we'll find the
We'll make it.
appropriate.
I'm willing to modify my resolution to reflect accurate language.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Right.
I also wanted to take the opportunity to thank the organizations that helped to provide food and other things for the event. Walmart and Tops both provided gift cards that money was used to buy parts as well as food. We had coffee and other things from North New York and Montreux Falls, also from Overlook Coffee and Burdett and Deloitte Coffee, pizza from Orlando Scale House, and then we received donations from Acorn Designs and Cornell Cooperative Extension. So thanks to everybody. We have a Buy Local, Buy Green campaign that we've talked to you before about. We're going to go, I think, forward with the name of Hector Homegrown. Our mission statement right now is promoting our resilient local economy, including neighboring communities. So we're leaving the door open it's a business that's a couple miles outside the border of Hector, but is consistent with our mission. We would propose to include those. And we're looking at focusing on farmers, beekeepers, and local artisans. And how we roll this out, we still have to figure that out. We'll be talking about it at our next meetings. Any questions on that or comments? There's a signed contract, my understanding is, for the 4 EV chargers to be installed at Smith Park. These charging stations are 100% paid for by grants, some of which were obtained by the Hector Sustainability Committee through the Clean Energy Communities Program. And my understanding is they will be built by a New York State company.
Do we have an idea of when that'll happen?
We're kind of working through we're working with the contractor and the company to meet everything that they need.
In process.
It is in process.
Okay.
And then the last thing, in conjunction with Dumpster Day, we're gonna have another swap meet. This year, instead of being in the firehouse, we're gonna try to have tables set up out by the dumpsters. Unless it's pouring rain, then we'll be back in the firehouse. So we will encourage people to go left to put something on the swap tables, right to put it in the dumpster. Anything that's left at the end of the day, really we'll dispose of it, or we'll take it someplace where they might be able to use it, so like local thrift stores. And there's gonna be one at Hector and also at Reynoldsville, is that right? Mecklenburg. Did you have anything to say about that one?
No, just that we're doing it 3rd year in a row. It was a really good turnout last year. Drop off on Friday, Saturday, 9/11. Okay.
Yeah, we've had highs and lows, and we're hoping people maybe will be more responsive this year.
I've been helping get some posters out. I have extras if anybody wants. But I haven't got to the east side of town, but the west side I've been working through.
Okay. And then the only final thing is on the horizon, I think the committee is going to be working on water quality issues, and we haven't defined what that will be yet, but a number of us are really interested in looking at what the committee can do to foster improved water quality. That's it.
Thank you very much. All right. Move on to the highway superintendent. Floor is yours.
What's that?
The floor is yours.
Floor is mine. We've been working on spring grading. We put some drainage weeks in Fitzgerald and Stage Road. Been doing some hole patching. We cleaned up the piles that the community made in Meck Cemetery. We've been working on ditch on Potomac and Culvert roads. We helped Soil and Water put some mats in on Culvert Road. Changed cross pipes on Lake Street, Vesta Road, Stage Road. This month we did our MSHA training for the gravel pit. Been boom mowing, and we've done some driveway pipes on Morris, Schuler, Voorhees. And I don't, we have our 2025 284.
We have to do authorize the highway school for you and Elliot first.
I don't have that, I guess. Do I? Yeah, I do. No, I don't.
It's on the agenda.
Okay.
It's $125 each for them to attend. It's at Ithaca College, June 2nd through the 4th. Scott is highway superintendent is going. He is taking Elliot Taylor in order to get some of the sign classes for road signs and that type of stuff. And I was successful to register them online. We just have to send the payment, which was in your vouchers, I believe.
Yeah.
There was a voucher in there to cover that. So you just need to, because there's a cost involved, you need to do a resolution authorize those two to attend, please.
I'll make the resolution for Scott and Elliot to attend highway school in Hickory College.
Second version.
First and a second, any questions or comments about the school? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All right, sorry, Scott.
No, that's all right. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to do this or how this was going anyway. We have a list of projects that we would like to do this year if we had the funding. We haven't totally got all our funding yet, but the stone and oil, the group wants to start at the end of the month, so I had to throw together a 284 form to get approval to spend money to at least do our stone and oil when it comes in on the end of the month. Do you want me to read this or what?
Liz, do you want to read?
I would be glad to. 2025 284 agreement to spend town highway funds. Number 1, Stage Road, starting at State Route 227, commencing south for 1.1 miles to State Route 79. Chip sealing, 1 course, not to exceed over the sum of $17,500. Number 2, Ball Diamond Road, starting at County Route 4 and commencing east for 1.1 miles to Warner's Corners Road. 1 course, chip sealing, not to exceed the sum of $16,100. Number 3, Doogie Road, starting at Fousehold and commencing east for 2.2 miles to County Road 4. 1 course chip sealing, not to exceed the sum of $36,800. Number 4, Dolphsburg Road, starting at County Road 8 and commencing west, 0.57 miles to County Road 9. 1 course chip sealing, not to exceed over the sum of $8,900. Number 5, Dolphsburg Road, starting at County Road 8 and commencing 1.5 miles east and south to Drew Road. 2 courses of chip sealing, not to exceed the sum of $47,500. Number 6, Robertson Road, starting at County Road 4 and commencing 0.172 miles to the bridge. 4 courses of chip sealing, not to exceed more than the sum of $9,800. Number 7, Hubs Road, starting at County Road 4 and commencing west, 0.38 miles to Dead End. 4 courses of chip sealing, not to expend more than $24,200. Number 8, Matthews Road, starting at County Road 4 and commencing east, 0.817 miles to Seasonal Sign. 4 course chip sealing, not to exceed over the sum of $52,000. Number 9, Covert Road, starting at Satterley Hill east, 0.57 miles to County Road 4. 1 course chip sealing, not to exceed the sum of $9,072. That was very specific. Number 10, Seneca Road, starting at Burdick Road, commencing east, 0.73 miles to the Covert line. 1 course chip sealing, not to exceed over the sum of $9,000. Number 11, Stillwell Road, starting at Route 227, commencing north, 3.55 miles to County Road 1. 1 course chip sealing, not to exceed the sum of $56,175. Number 12, Newtown Road, starting at State Route 79, commencing 2 miles south to the end of pavement, not to exceed the sum of $3,240.
32,000.
I'm sorry, $32,400. And that says chip sealing. Number 13, Tuttle Road, starting at Newtown Road and commencing west, 2 miles to State Route 79. 1 course of chip sealing, not to expend over $32,400. Number 14, Burr Road, starting at Bower Road and commencing south, 1 mile to Serene Road. 3 courses of chip sealing, not to expend over the sum of $50,555. Number 15, Voorhees Road, starting north of Heverly Road at the new pavement, commencing north 1.24 miles to the Chicken Coop Road. 1 course chip sealing, not to expend over the sum of $10,184. Number 16, Newtown Road, starting at the south of Tuttle Road at the end of the pavement and commencing south 1.63 miles to 3569 Newtown Road with 4.5 inches of type 3 binder not to expend over the sum of $325,000. Number 17, Fitzgerald Road, starting at State Route 79 and commencing south and west for 1.33 miles to Bergen Road, 4.5 inches of type 3 binder not to expend more than the sum of $250,000. Number 18, Havens Road, starting at Bergen Road and commencing south for 0.531 miles to Grover Road, 5 inches type 3 binder not to expend more than the sum of $130,000. Number 19, Hamlet of Valois, 2
Oh,
inches.
you skipped a page.
Oh, thank you.
Did you do?
Did you? Oh, okay, sorry.
No,
I'm
I turned too many the first time too.
Yeah.
Number 19, Hamlet of Valois, 2 inches of type 6 top, not to expend more than the sum of $248,000. Number 20, Hamlet of Mecklenburg, 2 inches of type 6 top, not to expend more than the sum of $130,500. And number 21, Heverly Road, starting at Voorhees Road and commencing east east 0.61 miles to State Road 227, one course chip sealing not to expend over the sum of $10,000. Chip sealing total $454,968. Binder $705,000. Top $378,500 for a total of $1,538,468. Then we will assign to that total.
yeah.
We have to pass the resolution, correct?
Yeah, you have to do a resolution first, please.
On number 14, she said Serene Road, and it's actually pronounced Serene Road. Everybody's kind of thinking.
Oh, my
She was reading, I was not gonna argue.
I was waiting, but I wanted to make sure that people were listening. There isn't a Serene Road in.
Is it spelled there?
No.
I thought
Yes, it is. It's
S I,
S-I,
right?
R.
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait, I thought that was.
I can't believe you would even ask that.
I make a motion to accept the 284 agreement as read.
I'll second the motion.
And I have the one original sheet that can be
Yep.
signed by all of you, please.
We have a first and a second. Are there any further comments or questions?
I just have a quick question. When we say a map
Turnpike.
delineates
Turnpike.
the actual hamlet as being,
Yeah, Turnpike,
Not the state roads.
Steve,
but not state
Maple,
road,
right? That's all that's.
Yeah, that's all that's there.
just whatever's town
Right.
roads, not state highway.
Town road, no. County roads, no. State road,
Okay.
all town.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Did you guys say Kellogg Road in that? I didn't hear Kellogg Road, and that road's like falling apart. Last year, you guys talked about maybe doing something different on that road?
We were gonna pave that road last year, but it never, Boltar was supposed to do it, and on October 1st, I called them and said it's too late, we're not doing it the first October.
So you guys gonna do it again this year, or just gonna?
I'm afraid this year we're gonna dig up the bad spots where the water's ruining the road and put wheat spawn, crush and run, and probably end up starting over again, is what we're gonna end up doing.
Unfortunately, as I think most people that spend any time on the roads, not just within the town, but everywhere this winter, it seems like the roads have taken a terrible beating. And so we're making a significant investment this year and trying in many cases to maintain or salvage roads that are right on the edge, or moving forward and some of the roads like you just mentioned, we're going to try to create better drainage so that when we do oil and stone them or pave them, they hold up better than they have in the past. Unfortunately, there's some roads that have some significant drainage issues, and it doesn't make sense to pave or oil and stone them until we fix the drainage issues, so that when we do fix them in the future, they hold up better.
I agree.
Karen?
Just a quick question. On Steve Street, there's whole sections of the street that are kind of like missing.
Turnpike same way.
And Turnpike, yeah, as well, you're right. So, but I assume that's kind of being repaired before we,
They'll T&L it before they put the top on.
Yeah, specifically for Valois and Mecklenburg, all of those village or hamlet streets, I guess I should say, are, need attention, and if we don't pay attention to them probably this year, we're gonna lose some of them, so
Yeah.
we,
What does T&L mean?
Level them, fill in the holes,
True and level.
true.
Okay, thank you.
Technically, it's true.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Ask the clerk, she always knows.
for 132 days and 5 hours.
Not that she's counting.
all right. Any other questions or comments?
You need to vote.
Hearing none, all in favor of authorizing the 284 agreement? Aye. Anybody opposed? Right, the motion carries. I'm gonna sign this and pass it down the table so that everybody can.
Hopefully, state comes through with the money.
Yes, that's one thing.
So we don't
just
know yet the CHIPS funding situation?
No.
The one thing about the 284 agreement is we're authorizing it. It does not need, does
It
not
doesn't
mean it.
mean I'm gonna go drain your bank account.
Yes,
Yes.
I have to.
we have to have the
But
funding in
if
place
they-
before.
If they wanna start the 27th of this month, this was the board meeting, I had to do it.
Mhm.
That's a good question, Liz. Thank you for asking that.
And if they don't send money, this was all for fun.
Yeah.
We get to do another 284 form next time.
Yeah, next week.
So can you, did you get a vote?
Yeah, we all were in favor.
Okay.
Everybody, sorry about that. We have to appoint a new highway mechanic. So for, just to make it smoothly, we have a new mechanic that started on May 5th. So I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Kyle Docks effective May 5th at a rate of $25 an hour.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Alright. The last item on here, we have an estimate. It's under highway, but it's actually a split purchase. It'll be 50% highway and 50% the water district. It is for a backhoe. The state bid price is $140,159.56. Currently, the highway department does not have a backhoe. Currently, the water department does not have a way to excavate the pipes in our water system. So currently, the town is paying a contractor every time the water department needs to dig. And I feel money would be more well spent if we were doing it ourselves. We have a member of the water department that is proficient in use of this type of equipment. And in cooperation with the highway department, they'll be able to use it. So we're going to be splitting it. I don't know if we have to do multiple resolutions or we just approve this
You can do it as one and,
and say 50%.
and identify expending where the funds are coming from.
Okay.
That sounds like a motion for you.
Well, then I will make the motion. We have spent quite a bit of time, and we are the one accessory that we're actually paying for 2 accessories on this. One is for a ditching bucket with the idea that it would be more useful for the highway department, and we are paying a 5-year warranty. Even the new equipment, we've had some service issues with, so we're including the warranty.
Well, I almost think that 5-year warranty, 60 months, 3,000 hours, like, I almost think that's like our loader. They do all the maintenance and
Yeah.
everything on it.
I think that's what you told me.
The filters, the oil, and it's on their.
The machine sends
they
them a
call and
text,
say,
right?
hey, the hours are up. We're gonna come do your, and we leave it parked out back on a Friday and we come back Monday. It's all done.
Amazing, wow,
So
cool.
it costs a little bit, but they're there. When it does, what comes up for the valves and the retorts and all that, they come do it.
I would like to make a resolution that we authorize the signing of a, what, letter of intent, is that the proper, what is,
Yeah,
to purchase a case, what's the model here?
580 wide track.
580 wide track for purchase, state bid price of $140,159.56. This will be equally split between the water department and the highway department.
Second the motion.
Can we put 2025?
2025? Okay, 2025 case 5.
I already have 2025 written down.
I won't second it anymore. I'm just kidding.
Forget it.
Any further questions or comments about this?
We have talked about this in highway committee meetings for quite a while, like
Almost a year.
I
Liz
did.
did.
Liz did.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have to write on your amendment the warranty as well?
Including, let's say including the 36-inch ditching bucket and the 60-month warranty. We'll cover that.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have that written in here.
Yeah, and this will be attached to the amendment, which is the quote.
What kind of delivery time frame are we looking at?
Scott?
September, October.
September, October. Oh,
It's not too bad considering some of the equipment's taking significantly longer
Yeah.
than that.
Could it change with,
What's that?
could it change with shipping interruptions and stuff? You know, or?
They had a spot open and he put in for to be started in July because whether we bought it or not, he was gonna fill the spot because he wanted one anyway. So,
Okay, great.
Everything's subject to change.
We'll see eventually.
yeah.
The trucks,
Mm,
ordered 2 and the second one got here.
trying to forget the truck.
All right. If there's no further questions or comments, everybody interested, or everybody, everybody in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. Anything else, Scott? Oh, yes, I'd like to bring up also that the dust oiling has begun.
Yep.
I'm not sure how, and depending on whether it should be done, what, next week?
Done?
No.
No?
No. We haven't had good enough weather to even have a tanker come yet. They bring a triaxle and we get a couple hours done and then start sprinkling.
you need it to be drier to put it down.
Well,
You need it not to be
don't really
raining
wanna
is
put it
when
down
I'm
in the
on.
rain.
Yeah.
Spray right in the creek.
Yeah.
I mean, they were here at 8 this morning and gone by 10.
Wow.
Yesterday they didn't show up till 9:30 and they were gone by 11.
It's a work in progress.
But the most important thing is it is happening.
It is, but this year's been challenging for everything.
There is a goal to have it done by Memorial Day.
We have 2 weeks, or a week and a half.
We got the pipe on Mark Smith Road. It's being done. Mark Smith Road will be closed the 19th, 20th, and the 21st. They're putting in the pipe where the beaver dams are. Soil and water's helping us.
I'd like to thank the highway department for their assistance they provided at the park after last week's stormy weather. We had some erosion issues that they've helped us with. And just before everybody leaves, Thursday, is that gonna work for you, Liz? We have highway at noon.
Yes.
Okay, so this Thursday, highway committee. Thank you, Scott.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're gonna move on to Smith Park.
Yay.
All yours.
Okay, while we're open, park is open now.
I've got a total of 12 seasonals on site so far, and all the sites are booked. So they're just kind of coming in whenever they want to.
Did the rain event affect anybody's move-in date?
One campsite, but they're already on site now, so it wasn't anything drastic. Flooding, and I was gonna say, Scott, thank you. They came down and did quite a bit of work to help us get fixed up from that. So that's very appreciated.
Will we do anything to prevent future erosion / flooding
Well,
events?
I can speak to one spot in particular. An upstream culvert pipe was 36 inches and it flowed into the next one downstream was 24 inches.
And
So-
the 36 inch would run over.
Yeah, yeah. So right there, we replaced the smaller one with one that matches the uphill one. So that should improve flow minimally. We are looking at clearing another culvert pipe. We're trying to figure out how to resolve one that's further up the hillside that's under Bondsmith Park Road that is got a significant tree root issue, which caused quite a bit of the water that diverted it and created some erosion problems in places we've never had water before because prior to that, the water flowed under the road like it was supposed to. So there are, and we have come up with a list that is passed around that we are identifying areas that with the cooperation of the highway department and park staff, we can better clear so that the water does flow.
Nice.
Yeah, there's one area that a camper mentions, 57, the man was there today, and he mentioned that there's been flooding issues ever since the water system got put in because they kind of filled the ditch. There's no longer a ditch where there used to be, and ever since they did that, there's been flooding. So that was just today's conversation. So yeah, it's an ongoing.
So, but
The
yeah.
good news was some of the work we had done down there actually worked.
Yes, that's very true.
The stuff that we have done in the past 2 years, and some of it's really minor stuff, just little swales at the top of the hill, have worked really well.
Made
So
significant.
the stuff that we're dealing with is stuff we just haven't dealt with yet.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's worth it to put the money in.
It was nice. It was nice to go down there afterwards and see that some of the work that was done earlier this year or last year made a difference.
Yeah.
Areas that in the past had washed out every single storm, even after the deluge, were fine. So.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay, so are we, I guess, I have a person that would like to park their boat in the overflow lot, for like a month. Are we allowing public to park boats in the overflow lot like that?
This is not a camper.
Not a camper.
This was something that we did authorize last year, just as a quick reminder to everybody, but she's asking for clarification for this year.
In a price, if we can come up with something.
Remember we set a price last year, what was it?
I don't remember.
Was there problems last year on doing that?
No, I never had any issues.
We had a monthly rate last year, didn't we? I thought that was how we had established it.
It was something like $50 a month. I can't remember. We did a weekly and a monthly.
Yeah, it was two separate.
I go back and look in the minutes.
I personally don't love the idea of continuing it, but it hasn't been a problem. So until it is a problem, I guess. I don't because parking is already limited on certain days. And then, if more than one person wants to do it, if say 3-4 people want to do it, then we have a problem. So.
But we could limit it to 2 spots that we rent out. And, we don't have to give permission for an unlimited number of people. I have no problem with that. Do we need a resolution or just direct Valerie to?
Last year's pricing?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
I think I like the idea of capping it too.
Sure.
Of 2 spots or what, I mean, what makes sense to you, Mel?
How many did we end up with last year? Was there 3 that were there for some period of
Yeah, it
time?
was like 3 or 4. And it wasn't for any significant amount of time, I don't think.
Not
It
all
wasn't
at
for
the-
like months and months at a time.
I know that we had one that was, occasions where people rented cottages nearby and wanted to leave their boat.
Yep,
There wasn't really boat parking at the cottage and they wanted someplace to leave their boat for the week while they were here vacationing.
and this is a similar situation. I think she said that they were working on moving and doing some things like that. So between going back and forth over the lake and whatnot, they would need some parking in the parking lot. But she said only for like a month, next month. Which isn't even really a full month, but I don't know, it all depends on how you guys wanna do it.
I say go for it.
As if it wasn't an issue last year,
Yeah.
we can, I mean, same rates as last year's.
Mm-hmm.
A better deal, but
If I remember right, last year's resolution always, it said limited, limited parking. When it was full, they'd get turned away or whatever. I think it was left to the park manager to decide that whether there was room or not. If there wasn't room, then they couldn't do it.
That sounds good to me.
All right. There we go. We can look up last year's resolution and get you the information.
Okay.
we need a resolution to approve, reapprove last year's resolution. I'll make that.
I'll second it.
That's the spaghetti.
All right, we have a first and a second to reauthorize the boat, public parking of boats in the overflow lot at the discretion of the park manager. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? There we go.
Did you have a second?
Thank you.
Yes, there was a second. Thursday, let's touch base and we'll find it.
At some point, we might wanna talk about handicap parking at the boat launch. It was brought to our attention from Will that the sycamore down there is going to start dropping branches within the next year or so. So it's right above our handicap parking. So we might want to try and either find a different spot for handicap parking or eliminate that parking and move it back a little bit so they're not right underneath the tree. I don't really know what the resolution would be for that exactly, but
I think that'd be a good thing for the park committee to take a look at.
I have to discuss that.
Yeah.
We'll be able to just limb up the tree, the limbs that are.
He has been, but
Sycamore trees are known for.
They
He
just
yeah, he
drop.
just said he wouldn't suggest any parking under that tree. It's a big tree with a lot of limbs. They could, he just said it's a little bit it's getting risky now. So,
yeah. So, another thing we might want to look into is plowing and signage for the EV charging station. You saw the email the other day about that from Barrow Jackson.
Yeah, you and I both
We
responded.
both responded with pretty much the same answer, and I had actually spoken to him on the phone before I responded to him. So, that was just one thing that he pointed out, and I didn't know if we needed to set up with highway that
We can make that happen.
that section gets plowed now.
Coming
It currently is plowed, because water plows, so they would just need to push back a little bit because they maintain to be able to get to
Access
the
to the
wells and the
wells,
pump
so
station.
that
Okay.
is cleared. We just have to make sure that the actual site is cleared,
Right. So,
which we can have that conversation, no problem.
okay.
And the park manager may occasionally need to help with, we might need to buy you a snow shovel and kind
That's
of
fine.
clean up the EV spot if we ever
That's
have a winter again.
I think I can handle that. Let's see, Hip Camp's been doing really well. I've got 6+
Right.
different campers that have already been in and out.
Oh, wow.
So,
Amazing.
it's been pretty fast.
That's pretty cool.
Yep, and lots of one-nighters, two-nighters, not extensive stays, but my phone's going off all the time for a new booking.
Better than an empty campsite.
Yeah, so,
I know we talked about it last month. They're specifically non-electric sites that we're
Yes.
advertising on HipCamp. Interesting.
Yep.
Cool. That's great.
yep, so that's been working out really good. We've got our 3 bigger trees planted. Will Jennings, he donated his time to the park for planting the 3 bigger trees, as well as the 3 trees themselves were donated. So they're all in and stabilized and everything. Got those done.
Excellent.
Cameras, we're still having conversations about cameras. Anthony's been helping me out a lot with that. We're still,
We're getting closer.
I know, we're getting there.
A current conversation is we were thinking because there is internet and electric at the office, that we should just go ahead and put up a Blink or what's the other one?
Rain.
Rain. Just like a cheapy, easy, like buy off Amazon sort of camera for the office anyway. And then because the difficulty is the boat launch and the swim beach not having electric, not having internet.
And so I've been trying to find ones that are solar, don't need Wi-Fi, and then the one I have doesn't have live streaming. And that's really what Mallory needs. It's just another ability to see both things like in real time.
Yeah.
So I sent a couple today.
What about a game camera that goes to the cell phone?
But they're real time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Video
Yes.
or just picture?
That's what the Bosphorus
I
is
think
supposed
it
to be,
depends on what
isn't
you,
it?
Not real
it depends
time,
on what
but
you
there's a
set the
limited
camera
number
for.
of-
My son has one up at the farm where we hunt, which is 4.3 miles away, and he gets the pictures on his cell phone. And I don't know if it's immediate, but it's fairly short time.
It's battery operated or what? Or solar
The
or what?
camera's battery operated, but he had batteries in it that lasted all winter long. So
For the office, the ring camera, the floodlight ring camera, the quality is pretty good anymore. So I have multiple ones of those at home, and it's all real time. You can zoom, you have record of that for 30 days, and it's like $10 a month, and you can add unlimited, or if you just have 1 or 2, it's like $2 or something a month, and it take an hour to install those there.
Yeah.
So it's that would give you time to look for something that is the boat launch is that would, I'd say, be the next most important one.
Yeah, and we're just trying to make it so that it's a useful tool and not more for Mallory to do in the busy season, charging batteries. And, it's not working again.
So is it the ring camera or whatnot, is that something we have to get a resolution for, or can we just go ahead in the park just buy that?
We budgeted for a camera system, so if we budgeted for it, we wouldn't need it to pass a resolution.
Right, you just follow the
As
procurement
long as you don't go over
policy.
budget.
Yeah, as long as you don't go over budget and you follow the procurement policy, so we'd still need the multiple quotes, et cetera. But
Okay.
for this, it's inexpensive, I think you can
I
get
don't know,
two.
one camera is gonna be.
You could get two for under 500 for the ones with the high def, which would be worth doing it. And then you can control the lights. You can set where it's sensitive. You've got a lot of options. It'll tell you if a vehicle drives by versus if a person walks by. So the technology's really come a long way with those.
You might want extra batteries just because.
Those
are hardwired.
The floodlight ones are hardwired, so they run off of the.
You have to charge
Right.
regularly.
Right, there's a refund request.
Just one. Jamie Walters, he canceled less than 14 days. It was actually 11 days. He claims they had a family member pass away, so he was asking for a refund.
Is that the full refund or is that the?
That's the full dollar amount for the reservation that he originally paid for.
With the, if they cancel in the appropriate time, there's a service charge, correct? That we keep sort of independent or no?
I think it's $30 for the reservation fee.
Yeah, so it's the refund policy is 30 days or more. It's, they get 100% of the refund back except for a $30 reservation fee. If it's more than 14 days, 15 to 29 days, then it's 50% back. And if it's less than 14 days or less, it's no refund.
I personally feel that I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt that a family member did pass away and that we should offer some type of refund. I think I might be inclined to refund minus the 30-day or $30 processing because we still got charged for their reservation, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have a?
I would feel the same.
Yeah, that was my thoughts.
Who
So
wants to make it in?
a resolution.
I make a motion to refund Jamie Walter's family, their full refund minus the $30 booking fee.
182.35.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's 190.35.
I'm not in favor of
Yeah,
it.
no, not the full refund.
We need a second before we can discuss.
I'll second it. Jessica seconded it.
I just feel like she was doing refunds all last year. I don't know. I feel like it's always a family member that passed away. I feel like it's a 50% refund is fair. I don't know. It's the one thing I think is that right now we're not busy, but if we were busy and had a full park, we would lose out. We'd be paying for this person. So 50% to me is the maximum. I feel it's like, why does taxpayers of Hector have to pay for someone else? In this situation, the park is not full, so we're not really losing money. But if this was mid-June to Labor Day, taxpayers of Hector would be paying for the situation. I feel like 50% would be fair.
If the busy time of the year, though, we would have a higher probability of
Not necessarily. I mean, not if it was 11 days out. No, not necessarily.
We're also doing case by case for these since all of them are board resolutions, right?
Yeah,
And we're not booked right now.
Huh?
And we're not booked busy.
I know. I just feel like it's almost like.
But you're not setting a precedent because it's case by case.
I know that's what people think. I just feel like you kind of do set a precedent. I just feel like if you have rules, what's the point of having rules?
Yeah,
Don't
that's
have the
the way I
rules
feel
then.
too.
Don't have the policy.
It's not like they just decided they didn't want to go on vacation. If
Well,
somebody in
you
their
don't know
family
what
but
the truth is too. I mean, because it always comes down to you don't know, because during COVID, everyone had COVID, right? Like people couldn't come into work because everyone has COVID. And after you're like, oh, okay, you've had COVID 3 times this month. It's interesting. So anyway, I guess I just feel a little like 50% is taking care of the town, taking care of the customer.
I mean, the difference is $80, $81.
Yeah,
It's already,
it's
isn't it
significant.
already 50% if it's the 15?
It would be 0. It would be
No, the 15 day to
but they're not within
29
15
days is 50%, right?
15 to 29 is 50%.
But they're not
Yeah.
in that window. They're 11
I understand. I don't know, I just feel like why have rules if?
I guess because humans are capable of compassion, and if someone died in my family and I got a full refund, I'd be much more likely to book the next summer when I was able to travel at the park versus being like, those jerks wouldn't give me my money back when my mom died. I mean,
I think 50% is a nice, fair way to compromise.
Well, we've
with
got a
that.
resolution. Let's vote on it. If it doesn't pass, and we can do that one.
All right. Fair enough.
That is the
You're calling the
process. You're calling
question. Thank you. All in favor of authorizing a refund minus the $30 booking fee? Aye. Anybody opposed?
Yeah.
So motion does not pass.
There were three.
Three and three.
Justin, Anthony, and Liz, 4.
With the big hearts.
I'm just
The
saying,
people who
I guess
feel loved.
I'm thinking of it more as like potential customer retention. Because right now the town doesn't lose anything by returning this person's money, except maybe that customer from coming back next year.
Yeah, that you're assuming that that customer has not lied and who is a good person who's, we want to come back. You don't necessarily know that. They could also be a customer that we're like, okay.
Well, I'll make a motion to
Because we deal with those,
refund
too.
50% of the $225.35 to Jamie Walters.
I was second that.
And what's the dollar value?
111.17.5 $225.35 minus half
So 222.35.
is the full amount, and half of that
111, we'll say 111.17.
Okay.
and a half.
I think it should be 18.
Okay.
Make up my mind. At 5, you round up.
Okay, so it'd be 18.
Yes.
All right, we have first and second. Any further comments on this? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Is he from Rochester?
Wait, that didn't pass though.
All in favor?
I'm not, I vote no.
No? Anybody else opposed? Rebecca's opposed too. All right. Are you in favor or you're opposed as well?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
So it does.
Are you in favor?
I'm in favor.
Okay, so
4 to
4-2.
2. Pass.
Sorry about that.
Hopefully, family is well. Move on.
We need to appoint our new office clerk, Maureen. So I'll make the motion that we appoint Maureen Nevins, is that the proper way? Effective May 10th to October 1st at a rate of $20 an hour.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any questions or comments?
Did we do that last one? Did we do Maureen last?
And
We
it's
met
up,
her, but we didn't.
We didn't
You
get
didn't actually officially.
and it's up to
I
20
never
hours a week.
started.
Up to 20 hours a week.
I see, okay.
I'll take a second one.
No, we didn't have a start
Getting
date.
hostile. Watch out.
We wanted to start on a really good day.
I see, auspicious horoscope approved day, I see, all right, yeah.
Fair question though.
Fair enough.
All right, so we have effective May 10th to October 1st at a rate of $20 an hour, up to 20 hours a week. We have a first and a second. And if there's no further questions or comments, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. And we're going to move on to Mecklenburg Pond Community Park.
Can I add one thing to
Yes.
the tail end department
Sure.
report? So after the heavy rain and the erosion issues at the park, I drove around, it was, I think, the 7th, just to kind of assess things for any damage. Checked out the south bath, made sure there was no structural damage. I did notice there was some water that flowed in the direction of the sand filter and septic system. It didn't appear to be any damage to any components of the septic. Of abundance of caution, I did contact Schuyler County Watershed inspector to come up and do an evaluation appraisal. He walked the site yesterday. He didn't notice any visible damage to the septic system or sand filter or drain field. He said there was, it looked good from his point of view. It didn't require any further action at that time. We'll continue to monitor it. And Mallory did schedule the septic tank pump outs as part of the annual maintenance. So
And that's both septic tanks and the
all three.
Yeah.
Yeah, all 3 systems will be pumped out next week as part of the annual maintenance.
Wednesday, the 21st.
But
Each bathroom has its own, and then the
Dump
station.
Yes.
And we do offer them every spring before the park. It's season really gets going hard.
Always once a year.
Yeah.
Try to.
I'd also like to thank Jason Bond. He was in the park from the middle of the storm for several days, doing a significant amount of work cleaning up the flood, the flood damage. And so I just want to have on record that we thank him for his efforts. All right, thank you.
Good.
Now we'll move on to Mecklenburg.
The park is busy. It's really great. There's people there all the time. We just finally finished every single component of the play structure last night.
Wow.
Hey, good
So,
job,
yeah,
guys.
if you
It
haven't
was
been,
looking amazing.
thank you.
Wonderful.
If you haven't driven by yet, go look.
This is great.
It's really beautiful. So we finished putting the mulch down actually today. Somebody went over and spread the rest of the mulch.
Oh, wow.
We'll finish the two ends of the border wall that we left off so the tractor could get in and out. And the only thing left are the safety signs that we have. And then we can advertise it as publicly ready to play on. So that's really exciting. In the discussion of being more busy, we'd like to bring forth a discussion about signage for the park that would point people in the direction of where the parking lot is, please don't drive on the grass, kind of general things like that. And I handed you a paper that kind of lists out what we are thinking of requesting. So we'd like to parking here signs to point where the direction of the parking lot entrance and exit is. A lot of people end up just going right out the parking lot into the grass, which is fine, other than there's a reason that the driveway is where it is. So no vehicles on the grass. We discussed two of those, one on each side of the park of the pond, so that cars aren't making it past like the fire circle right there. And then one just great big, easy compiled list with maybe images instead of words. However you guys want to open discussion about that, but I made an accident on the first one. I said dawn till dusk, but we are thinking of going in a way of sunrise to sunset, some more definitive time frame.
So just for clarity, these are handmade signs that the Friends of Mecklenburg Park is kind of taking the lead on, or?
When we have talked, they're broken down on the list by town, would authorize certain ones, and then the Friends of Mecklenburg Park. When we talked in the committee meeting, we discussed that the ones that are specifically related to public safety that the town could take the lead on. For example, it's a really good idea. The no vehicles on the grass or the dike. We don't want people driving around on the dike for structural reasons. And
they do.
Yeah, and they do.
So.
Yeah, and most of these types of signs the town maintains at Smith Park. So that was the breakdown.
And we make them in-house? I mean, I know
We have either would work with Schuyler County or, yes.
Why no ice skating?
I don't know.
People have skated on that pond at their own risk for years.
That's why we're having this conversation. Is
Yeah.
these sign options are up to us to decide.
This is just kind of like what we put together. I don't expect that there's going to be a resolution or vote tonight. Just give us an idea of where we're thinking, and then with your sign company that you reach out to, we can get more specifics like that. So there's two parking, two no vehicles on grass, and then just the one compiled list of like pictograms or words that can just go in one place.
I feel the really important ones are the parking signs, because the reason we put the driveway where it is because the telephone line's too low to actually drive underneath it with a tall vehicle, which is legal for the road. And somebody pulls in the parking lot, and it's easier just to drive across the 8 foot of grass to get back to the road.
They could take
Mecklenburg will not have no internet for a while, because the line is really a big line, but it's not tall enough to drive underneath the road.
like a big SUV or something.
Well, an SUV fits, but a 12-foot tall pickup truck does not. That's why we moved the entranceway to the parking lot, to the playground up by the pole where the wire was high enough. It wasn't the first spot for the trucks for the entrance to the driveway, but the wire took precedence over the driveway. So that might be one that we should really, unless they plan on putting a barrier between the parking lot and the thing, which was also discussed, but
Between the parking lot and the
No.
play structure.
no, between the parking lot and the road.
We have discussed it. We haven't come up with a plan yet, but
I know,
yes.
but yes. But I think that's probably one of the important signs that we should get on is stay off the grass.
To stay off the grass and then parking here signs.
Yes. And hopefully nobody tears the wire down. It's not our fault if they do, but it could happen because people don't look up.
Phone company can't get it any higher?
Is it Empire or who do you?
It's Empire. I'm sure it's Empire.
Is there enough space there that eventually, like, bushes or something could be planted?
Shrubs or something.
Not with like the, like snow plowing and salt, like nothing
yeah,
is
right.
gonna live right there.
That makes sense.
We've thought about like boulders or like the tree trunks that have come down, moving them. The trunks are humongous. There's no way unless you cut the trunk in half and like set it there, but we haven't come up with a great plan.
But that's a great plan too, is you go into the park and look at all these nice rocks to play on right by the road.
Right by the
Yeah.
road.
yeah,
right.
That's so,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like maybe a split rail fence or, something.
Maybe a poison ivy.
So,
Anyway, I think
What-
we should get the parking signs maybe.
yeah, we should
We
be
can talk to Highway-
prioritized.
Scott on Highway.
Yep.
and maybe
Or
talk to
the
get
sign place that we've been working, Eastern Mail. So the other thing is then the rest, once we come to a agreed upon list, we would have like one large, like, kind of like we have on the swim beach that gives you the rules and regulations for the park, which would be the no hunting, no playground. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go through them quick. These are just like understood ones that we hope that people understand when they're there, mostly, other than some random ones that I'm not sure of the, like legality of them. Pets must be on leash, carry in, carry out, use playground equipment at your own risk. That one, we have playground signs that came with the play structure, but they just, if you go underneath the FMCP signs, it just says, welcome, this play area is for the enjoyment of children's ages XX years old, supervised children at all times. So that might be covered underneath the signs that we'll have installed. No hunting, no ice skating, ? No swimming, no camping. Anyone damaging property or violating park rules could be in trouble. Do not alter or remove plants or wildlife. And maybe no glass items, maybe no campfires. And Rebecca suggested maybe just like, instead of writing no, just like, here are the pictures of what you're not allowed to do, all other uses permissible.
like the National Forest does, they'll have like no horses, no bicycles, whatever.
Jane, didn't you learn how to swim in that pond?
I did learn how to swim in that pond. I was the fastest swimmer across that pond.
Well, that's not happening.
When I took
I can see the
my,
little Jane going.
my junior life-saving classes, because we had to swim back and forth about 4 times, and I did not like the grass out in the middle of the pond touching my feet.
You're trying to get it done as fast as possible.
As fast as possible, and I knew it.
We had taught swimming there, and it was Red Cross swimming lessons, and they came and did what they call the bite plate test. So if they can't they drop a plate that's 6 feet down, and if they can't see the bottom, they say you shouldn't be swimming in it. And that's at 6 feet depth. And of course, this was after probably 6 years of the pond being there, and it's just murky enough and seaweedy enough that you can't see, so they deemed it unsafe, so we stopped having swimming lessons there, and it just became a non-swimming pond.
Fair enough.
Has anybody replicated the white plate test?
It's pretty documented.
Yeah,
It's right.
It might make it 2 feet, I'm not sure.
Well, we wouldn't be able to allow swimming unless we had lifeguards.
No.
Anyway,
Not now, yeah.
We won't.
Which would require dredging and like, that's just.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
No, we're not.
No, that's actually, that's not true. I mean, just to correct that, because I looked into that last year. The reason that we can't do, because last year I was really excited about the idea of just not having to deal with, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with lifeguards, but not having to find lifeguards but having people just be able to swim at their own risk. Like they have to do the kayak launch, I mean, down in Watkins Glen. And it turns out the only reason we can't do that, because DEC properties can do that, they can do it at the kayak launch. The only reason we can't do it at Smith Park is because we have a campground there, which means the New York State Health Department regulates it, which means we have to have lifeguards.
Oh.
But if we didn't have the campground there and it wasn't New York State regulated, we could be at a swim at your own risk beach, which would be way easier.
Okay,
So
resolution to get rid of the camper system.
On a positive note, we have multiple applicants already.
That's awesome, yay.
So the way I look at this is we should move forward and maybe we pass a resolution, move forward with the parking and no vehicles on the dike signs. And we work through a proposal within the park committee for the final big sign. That's what everybody else is hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, then I
But I'm
will.
with Jane about the ice skating. I mean,
Well,
skate
that's
at your
part
own
of the big
risk.
sign.
Yeah.
That's part of the big sign. So with that in mind, I'd entertain a resolution about making arrangements for the parking and stay off the dike signs. Somebody,
Do we need to do
do we need to do a
a
resolution?
resolution? You do have $500 on that line.
All right,
Yeah, and those signs will be, the no parking, the parking signs will be less, they'll be like $40 each, maybe. I think 20.
If Scott has
High
white
planes.
signs, the county will make them for
When we priced out Eastern Meadow and County, they were the exact same
yeah,
price.
just about
And
exactly.
Eastern Meadow is really quick.
All right, so we'll move forward with that.
I have a question regarding the signs. They'll come up with them at a pole.
No,
I was wondering if you had funding for the, for
Like
poles for all
we
that.
do have, I mean, we might be able to coax the highway department into mounting the signs for you. Or not.
Well, the big thing is the ground pretty soft there? Is it, I mean,
It's quite unknown.
Well stated, well stated.
It might be easy to put up if the ground is not terrible, because the worst part is getting the stake in the ground.
Around the pond for the no cars on grass. It should be quite easy to get in. The parking, I have no idea.
Well, I mean, as part of this, is we can authorize the purchase of the 4 posts as well. And
Yeah.
Thank you. Perfect. Yeah.
because we're not gonna buy signs and not. Buy things.
Here's the sign.
Good luck. Have fun, guys.
So some of the things that we'll just add to our nature trail signs that are out at the front of the trail, we were thinking of just like little eye holes and then a little sign that would dangle from underneath, but like foot traffic only on trail or use trail at own risk, something along those lines. And then Karen reached out to Schuyler County regarding some signs that say slow children at play, because we were there during a fire call one time and they go really, really fast through there. I know that the signs aren't gonna slow anybody down, but it's kind of just like a, hey, remember, there might be people in this area. So they said that they're gonna come out and take a look at that. And they'll let us know their determination after that. And then the next thing, now we have a nice, beautiful, brand new playground and we still have the old one. So we would like to request that a resolution be made to place the old playground as surplus, so that we can figure out what we're gonna do with it. It's been discussed that somebody might take it. I don't know what you would require in terms of that, or what happens after it's considered surplus. So that it can be
Ability to do
removed.
whatever they want, or do we? That's up to you guys.
Okay.
That's up to you guys how you tell them to dispose of it in your resolution. That you declare it as surplus and authorize, you can authorize, MEC Park Committee to dispose of it in the best interest of whatever.
And once we declare it as surplus, that means we're liability free
correct.
However the committee wants to dispose of it, yeah.
So let's make that as a I'll make the resolution that we declare the former or old or existing playground at Mecklenburg Pond Community Park surplus, and that we authorize the Friends of Mecklenburg Park to dispose of it as they see fit.
I'll second that.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I have for tonight.
Just that we had a very successful tulip trot on May 3rd.
It was really cold.
Yep, and we raised some good funds for the park, had some like 50 runners come out.
Oh, cool.
And even though it was wet, everybody was smiling and happy, and it was a good collaboration.
I got second place in my age group. I'm only over 60.
Yeah, and we actually had more participants, about 8 more this year than we did last year, and we made a little bit more.
Excellent.
Great.
That's great to hear.
And we're planning for Oktoberfest now.
Were the tulips up?
Yes, they were.
Yes.
Besides the ones the deer ate. We did have the tulip planting at the end in the beginning of the fall last year, and they were beautiful. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank
Thank you, guys.
If you haven't seen the playground, go see it. Please. I've been there like every night for 2 weeks straight, so.
I commend Melissa for spending her Mother's Day at the park.
It was pretty cool to go up by there, head to the firehouse for the chicken barbecue and see even the little kids doing
Yes.
something
Yeah.
there. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Very faithful little
Yeah.
ones,
They're-
little kids.
Yeah, they're ready to play on it.
I was gonna say, have any kids gotten a sneak peek yet?
They have been
Oh, yeah.
our
Oh, yeah.
testers, yeah.
And we've all gone
We've
down
all
the
gone.
slide and fallen promptly onto the wood chips. It's a lot of fun.
Some of us more successfully than others.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate all your effort.
Thank you.
Code enforcement.
I do have one more thing to add. Right before the meeting, I just got an email. This is relation to the swings grant that we applied for.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like everything's going through. I haven't even had a chance to tell Mallory yet or finish reading the letter from DOS. But that would increase, so it's good that we have additional applicants for lifeguards. That'll allow us to really expand the hours at Swim Beach if we get enough
What's
people to
happening
work.
in the world? We
Yeah.
have applicants for lifeguards.
Yeah, so
If things go as we hope, we could potentially have
7
lifeguards 7 days a week this year.
Yeah, so I will forward that to the board and Mallory in the morning when I get to spend a little more time behind the computer, but
Thank you, Jason.
yeah, absolutely. So I'll breeze through my report. It's so we issued 17 building permits for the month of April. We closed out 5 permits. There were a real variety of permits, a lot of smaller projects, 1 single family home. The issued building permit construction value was just under $750,000. The completed permit construction value was approximately $1,150,000. Collected fees for the month were $2,694. The other thing I just wanted to note, we did receive notice from GSS Incorporated that they're planning to construct a 199-foot tall telecommunications tower in Mecklenburg. They did post the required notice, legal notice in the Watkins Glen Review and Express. If there are any questions, or if there's questions or comments regarding this, I'm happy to share the public notice, or you can see it on the Watkins Glen Review. It's open, they post it on the 30th, and they're taking public comments through through the 30th of May. So I don't have a ton of, they haven't like submitted for their permits or anything, so that's, I've got like a general site plan, but if anybody wants to review those documents or wants the contact information for the company, feel free to reach out.
Either Jason or me, because I also have that contact information.
Right. Only other update I have is that the town hall now is fully protected with a generator. So-
Excellent.
And if the rain consistently stops for a little bit, the highway should be ready in this week or next. So it's all hooked up. Scott and Bumpy went above and beyond because it became a little more involved project getting the right size propane to there. So they worked with Superior Plus getting trenching and digging up the parking lot and running everything, and that it was just great to see our highway department work with the contractors and stuff to pull that together over there. So it was a little more involved. And that's all I had. Any questions for me tonight, or?
And just so, it's not necessarily for you, but you and Justin, do we know where the status with Rob is with the blending the telecommunications tower law with the house structures law? So
Rob hasn't been answering that question when I posted a couple of times. He responded to a number of other things, but that one he has not. So I'm going to continue to prod him.
Okay.
That's your specialty. You should just put them together and then send that to him.
I mean, that's how the telecommunications tower actually, yeah, it happens.
All right. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
You too. There probably still is a water main break at the pump station to Logan Ridge. And Josh called to let us know that he was working on that and probably wouldn't be here. So he did submit his water report. Biggest one is we did finally do the water testing and the volume testing for the new well. I know that it produced enough water, but we're waiting for lab results for the tests on the water. So that's the update I have on the new well.
Regarding that what is the process? Will we be able to formally decommission the old well that's no longer usable?
We should be able to decommission that because we will have, the reason that is, there's 2 other wells down there.
Not just one, there's 2 of them.
There's 2 ones that we're not using now.
No, there's only one.
There's only one we are not using.
So we've never decommissioned.
Well, the new one and one other one, there's 2 others.
They want a backup well, so that's why we've never decommissioned it, because it is actually functional if we had to. It supplies water, it's just undesirable water. So theoretically, we could decommission that well once this one is online.
Okay.
However, at the rate that this is happening, we would probably move forward with a bidding process with work to start in September so that we do not interrupt this one beach in the height of the summer.
Okay.
And I would imagine if we even got to go ahead tomorrow, when we have the engineering, we would have to bid it out, and it would probably be late summer before we can put it all together anyway.
Yeah.
But yes, that is.
I'm just eager to
that
take
is part of the
down some
conversation.
Bars.
That is
the cages.
That is definitely been discussed at the water board. We have. I know Josh would very much like to have that out of the system too, because on the rare occasion it does have to be used, it wreaks havoc on the filtering system.
Well, there's 2 wellheads in that little fence, right? Fenced in area.
Yes.
Right. So one of them will stay.
Yeah.
One of them has to stay.
So we're not gonna,
But we can reduce the size.
we can reduce the size of that, yeah. I think remove the bars and then that's.
No, I'd like to, make it
Yeah.
less cagey.
Well, we should also look as a board, we could talk about, there are well housings that would be an authorized replacement for that. So we might be able to get something that looks like a little shed down there to cover the top instead of a cage. Especially for that one, because the other one's gonna be sort of removed from the waterfront. It's off
Oh, yeah, right.
more. The other thing that didn't make the report is we finally got our insurance payment for the accident at the Burdette pump station in November, where when we had that first storm of the season where things were very slippery, a contractor towing a trailer ran into the building and destroyed the fence around it, and we finally got the insurance payment for that, so we'll be replacing the fencing around the Burdette pump station, which is on Tug Hollow. So we're gonna move on from water. And the town clerk tax collector.
Yeah. Town clerk's office, we took in $3,232.50. Most of that goes to the town of Hector. The general fund gets $351.77. Park Town gets $2,784, which most of that is building permits. To DEC for hunting, fishing licenses was $14.73. The state animal population control fund got $37, and the health department got $45 for marriage licenses. So that was what was collected and sent out. Tax collection is done. We've balanced with the county. I was waiting for a couple more checks to clear, and I would know what the interest is gonna be in May, so then I can turn over interest to the supervisor, which I haven't done yet, but that will be done shortly. April water billing and collections. There was a new hookup and some miscellaneous charges in the system, so there was $3,162.60 billed. There were payments made or collected for $25,260.66, leaving a current outstanding balance in the water system of $23,842.36. That's it. For that. We did get an amended contract from the Board of Elections, which you did authorize Justin to sign this.
Basically, after, not to cut you off, Jane, but after a couple of conversations with the Board of Elections and pointed out some of the issues, they agreed to make the changes that the attorney for the town recommended.
What were the two numbers on them?
One thing in the lease, it said that nothing else could be taking place within the building except for the election, and obviously the town offices are open on election day, and we're not gonna close because the county wants us to have sole use. There was a requirement for a number of tables that we've never had in this space and wouldn't fit in this space. There was one other one.
Cancellation.
Yeah, cancellation.
Cancellation of the contract.
Yeah, we made it so that both parties could cancel. Originally, it was only them.
Right, it's a longer period of time for us, the landlord, to cancel than it is for the county to cancel due to logistics of moving a polling place, but we would have the option to cancel about a year in advance, I think, but still, we would have an option.
And the other item that we identified specifically for Mecklenburg, which Mecklenburg Fire Department, is they stated that it had to be air conditioned. And obviously, the Mecklenburg Fire Department's not going to install air conditioning to meet police.
Yeah.
So,
Which they shouldn't need, even in the June, they shouldn't need air conditioning.
so I'll be signing that this week. Okay.
No.
Well,
We don't-
you'd already authorized,
Oh.
based on,
Based on whether the changes got made.
Oh,
The
okay,
changes
okay.
did get made, so
Okay.
we just wanted to let you know, yes, the changes were made.
I was not.
Dumpster day is June 7th. I finally was able to successfully remove last year's poster from the website and getting this year's poster on there. Anthony has been distributing posters out public places around town. I need to get something a little more official looking on Facebook. I have an issue in posting things to Facebook if I can't have that document on my phone. If it's only on my laptop, it's password issue because I'm not sure I know what my Facebook password is. If I can find where it's written down at home, I'll be all right.
Then I find if I look up, like, email it to myself and then it's on your phone. I mean, if you can
I-
find your email on the phone, then you can.
I
save it.
might, yes, I could probably do that on the town phone. I could.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't think about that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Liz. I will try that, so I can post something a little more official looking on there. I did talk to Justin today too. We are going to put, like a block ad in the highlights in the, Seneca area shopper so that we cover about 3/4 of the town with those two papers, in next week's paper, just to get a little further information out there. But we're working on it. The last thing I had is on the website, the new requirement that Anthony at SCT, when he was here for computer maintenance last month, asked about. I do have a clarification. It is a law that was passed that takes effect December 21st, 2025, that all towns with populations of 1,500 or more, as well as other municipalities, must maintain an official website with a .gov domain name.
Interestingly enough, once again, not to cut you off, Dave, they claim that this was introduced to all of us when we were in New York City training.
Did not hear.
Yeah, I didn't think you guys did either. There, no information that I couldn't find except in the town topics that just recently came said anything about that. It would have been nice to know this last fall when we did our new website. However, the one thing, because we've already done all the multi-factor identification, all of that type of stuff that had to be done for emails and everything, we do not have to change the domain name for our emails. Our emails are not included in this mandate. This mandate is only for the website. I need to talk to Anthony about that to see whether that becomes an issue if the website is .gov and our emails are .us.
Did you say anything about .gov being, the reason we didn't go with .gov originally when we did the website in 2000, when we updated it in 2018 or whatever, was because that .gov was something like $1,000. You have to buy .gov and .us was free.
It
says you can get it at no
where to
cost.
acquire is towns can acquire a .gov domain name at no cost through the U.S. General Services,
Okay.
through the GSA, that manages, the GSA manages .gov domain names and will verify that your town is an eligible municipality. So if we can, and I need to talk to Anthony as to whether the logistics, how that's gonna be, but maybe it won't be an issue if it's just, we change the website, not the emails. Leave the emails at the .us. Because it's going to be pretty costly to change all that multi-factor identification that we've already completed this year, that was mandatory by the end of this year. It would be pretty labor intensive to change all of that, to change emails to a .gov instead of a .us. But in the class that I took specifically on this, the people from the state said there is no requirement that emails have to go to a .gov. So that's where I'm headed. Anthony comes the last week of this month, so I will talk to him, Anthony from SCT, and see where we're at. But it looks like they're going to force us by the end of the year to go to a .gov on the website at least.
When he comes, maybe I'll meet you guys here. He's coming here.
He comes
Because we
here,
should be able to get a splash page with, like .gov, that then still just leads back to our .us site.
oh, I was
That's-
thinking
if
about
that- if
that,
that's
whether that would
legal.
work, yeah.
Then we wouldn't, then it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
we gotta jump into hoops to get the .gov address, but then it's not having to really change what we've just changed.
Yeah, I think he's coming on May 29th, but I will email you tomorrow and verify that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think it's May 29th, and he's usually here at 9 in the morning.
Good, that's a good time for me.
That's the end of my anything.
Before we move on, do we want to discuss dumpster day as far as where board
Yes.
members are gonna show up?
Who's gonna be where?
I'm gonna be at Hector.
I'm happy to go wherever there's need.
I was planning to go to Hector.
I'll be wherever there's need. I'd like to request to be the first person who gets to leave.
Let's leave
You're gonna
early.
miss out on pizza from
I'm usually
Dandy.
the first there.
Mike, are you able to
In
be
Mecklenburg?
at Mec at all?
Yes.
Okay,
I said last month I'd do Mecklenburg.
so,
I was planning on being in Mecklenburg. Can I get out of that? I want to be the first person not to show up this year.
well, Mec,
No, I plan
Mec
on being
is-
in Mecklenburg and I plan on bringing a piece of equipment to help load the dumpsters.
okay. It's probably, Mec might be good for you.
Yeah, last year Mec
Because-
was really slow, but I can go there and then.
Go there, and
leave.
if not, leave or come.
I just don't want to come from town hall, so I'll be stuck there.
I don't know, Scott told some highway guys it was mandatory they had to work. And they said, but wait a minute, there was a couple of them were arguing, they just don't wanna work that day, but he told them, no, we can split the shifts, but everybody's gonna work. Something, part of it at least. I told him, I said, yeah, that falls in the highway contract under all other duties as specified by the highway superintendent. Scott says, oh, I forgot about that one. So,
And I would encourage anybody watching this or here, if somebody wants to volunteer, we can always use more bodies. It makes it easier. Karen?
I have a question because, my understanding is the town or Mike with his truck or somebody will pick up things for just the dumpster day.
yes, only dumpster day and only
Actually,
senior citizens.
The town has been going around before dumpster day and picking up the,
For
Usually
senior
that week
citizens.
before, they've gone around and picked up for seniors.
They plan, I gotta look at a
I
calendar.
used to get stuff going around and people would just set it in the driveway and say, there it is.
Yeah,
Well, we have one item at the church that we're trying to get rid of and I just don't quite know how to get rid of it because it's too big to deal with.
how
What is it?
heavy is it? Is it something two guys can load on a truck?
It's got wheels.
Was
does
it like an
count?
organ?
I know.
An organ or a piano?
1,000 pound safe.
Yeah.
No, it's a rolling bin that's about it's about 3 feet by 3 feet. But it is heavy because it's wood.
I feel like we should be able to make arrangements with the highway department to pick that up and take it to the fire department and either put it in a dumpster or put it in the swap.
Thank you.
But we just need to make sure it's on the schedule and it's accessible to the highway department the day that we're doing it.
Thank you. I'm happy to leave the
Right.
place open. They can take
And-
anything that's there.
Any and everything.
They will most likely be picking up on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We take
Got it.
we take reservations for those pickups until, I don't know what I put on the flyer, 29th, or I think until the 29th. Where's the call? 30th, nope, I said the 30th. So we take those reservations until the 30th, and then I turn them over to the highway guys on Monday the 2nd, and they figure their schedule for what they need for trucks and whatever to get everything picked up. But the key thing is, everything needs to be outside and accessible by a truck. So either at the driveway,
I can get it on the porch.
probably would work for them if they can.
Yeah, that might even be easier. They might be able to back it up.
They
some
might be able
steps
to back up.
No? I don't know.
I don't,
They'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out.
They will figure it out.
Thank you.
thank you.
So Anthony, do you want to come here to Reynoldsville?
Sure.
Because if we have Justin and Liz and Hector, because you're gonna have Mike Mize and a couple of other people.
Yeah, we always have.
Jenna,
We always have a few good people.
Jenna, somebody or other called today. Can't remember who she's worked there every year.
Yeah.
Solomon? Yes, that one. Okay. I guess we can figure out from there.
All right, and also I'm happy, like, if they're getting hammered in Mecklenburg, just I'll go over there.
Yeah. Well, if you have Mike, Rebecca, and Jessica in Mecklenburg, I think we might have a couple hot firemen. I don't know. It's hard to tell who shows up, who doesn't. Because all the ones that always showed up are no longer living, so.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, they're not. The ones that did show up and help, they're gone.
You get them in.
Okay, that's enough for me.
Right, the next item on the list, Karen, I'm gonna let you address directly, since you're the generous individual donating this to the town.
We have a very small parcel of land.
We all have the maps here for,
Yeah, I gave them a copy that shows the map, so.
We have a 1.36 acre lot of land that basically has a wash that goes into the Teganic tributary
Towards the top
there,
of your page.
right before the cemetery,
Parcel D.
parcel D.
it is adjacent to the cemetery.
It is adjacent to the cemetery. And the situation is that the town has in the past gone in there and just kind of scraped the debris out of that area so that it is going through the culvert that we bought and the town installed, so that the road doesn't wash out. It's washed out completely 2 times in the last 10 years that I've been on the board. My concern is we've got this other 10-acre section and we can't access that other 10-acre section because it goes downhill to the lower road. But we would like to give this parcel so that the town can maintain the drive into the cemetery.
Maintain the drive and the drainage.
And the drainage there, yes. And so that 1.3 acres goes right up to the other drainage tie-ins. And we also would like to be able to cross the lower part of it on the left side of parcel D, because that's our access to the other 10 acres of land. There's a small 15-foot next to the post office, but this is the way that we have been going in recently. Anyway, the logical thing seemed to be, we don't know who's gonna end up with that 10 acres of land. And you can say when you sell land that, you have to give the right of way to have this maintained, but you don't know who's gonna do what 20 years from now. It just seemed appropriate to give it to the town so that you can maintain that drainage so that the road stays in place. What a novel idea. So we would like to part with 1.36 acres.
And where would the right of way that you need for access be? On the west?
On the left, it's this one right here.
On the left,
On the,
Is that little double
that
line?
west?
that little double line, yeah. Yes, it is on the west section of the lane.
west edge.
That's where the road lies.
Okay.
Well, I would make a resolution to accept the 1.36 acres parcel D from Karen Allen and allowing the right of access.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
And we have a first and a second, so if there's further discussion, as you can see, we do have a response from the attorney for the town. A simple resolution accepting the donation is, and he suggests including the parcel number in the resolution. And that's all we need to do to accept the donation.
Does Jane have the parcel number
Well,
besides parcel D?
Yes, the lot number, yes.
well, it's parcel D, but I need this section block and is this splitting off?
It's
Or it's not a separate tax parcel right now?
No,
So it requires a apportionment.
yes. It's, I'm not sure if this one is on 37-11113 or 131 or 36-08-156.1. Because there's two different parcels on here. I will get that information.
Right, so we will need what it is a part of, so that I can insert it in this resolution, please.
Yeah,
Does it matter if we do it this month or next month?
yeah, all she
You
needs is a
can
number.
proceed
We
with
could
this and I'll just insert the number into the resolution. Once we verify what it is. And then there needs to be some legal work done on it to get the paperwork done.
Yes,
So,
so it should include the expense of us accepting it as part of the resolution.
well, yeah, are we splitting legal fees or are we just going to absorb the legal fees as the town to get that split to happen? I mean, I don't know real estate protocols.
I think it's usually whatever you agree upon with the other party.
I'd be comfortable accepting, having the town cover it.
Yeah.
Seems like it's a donated parcel.
Yeah.
I agree as well.
Should we include that in the resolution?
Please.
Well, if it has to be surveyed, they'll go on up to some money.
It's already been surveyed.
Already been surveyed.
So we won't need to do a
We
survey.
don't need to do a survey.
But
so
a deed
it's
will have to,
transaction.
it'll be
Yeah.
a deed and transfer papers need to be done.
The town should accept that if they're getting the land. I don't know how it works when that Grover donated part of his to the bridge and Haven Road, but.
I think the town paid for something. Yeah. Okay.
Right, so we're gonna slightly tweak the resolution to include that.
To add, in town to cover legal expense for deed and transfer.
Can we cap it at a number that's, I mean, we don't know exactly. Is it gonna be under $1,000? Or who knows in this day and age?
I would, it's a small piece, it could be as much as 2,000 or 2,500, I don't know. I mean, we're tax exempt, so there's not like,
Taxes.
there's not like, anything that the county would charge us except for maybe a recording fee for the deed. And that wouldn't be huge, I don't think.
And it's like $120 or something.
I'd like to see, like, maybe let's put a number, a cap on it of like 3,000 just to cover our, I don't think it'll be anywhere near that much.
I don't think so either. You want to
Everybody,
add that in there, Justin?
everybody good with that?
Mike, Anthony, you two made it?
Yes.
For the max of $3,000 cost, okay?
Karen, is that reasonable?
Yep.
All right, we have a first and a second to accept land donation described as parcel D in the map, including the town paying legal fees to make the deed in land transfer up to $3,000.
I have one other question I just thought of.
Okay.
Seeing that's a little parcel way out by the cemetery, is the road going to the cemetery, is the cemetery's the road, not the town's road? So we have to have right of way down the cemetery road to get to our parcel of land. That makes sense?
It does, but it's a road that is.
It's not a public road.
It's not a public road,
It's a
yeah.
cemetery's road, right?
It's,
Or is it just a right away to the cemetery?
it's just a right of way to the cemetery, I guess, yeah.
The town cemetery, isn't it?
Nah.
No.
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 There's a
Oh,
cemetery
yeah,
association.
yeah, the right.
It's Mecklenburg Union Cemetery.
I think so.
That's already an established right away.
For the cemetery, not for the town's land.
Well, on our deed, it shows the rights of ingress and egress are shared in common with others over the existing gravel drive.
Seems reasonable.
That's all it says on that road.
Should we include ensuring towns?
Ensuring the right of way for the town to get to it. I mean, they can't landlock it.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but we should make sure there's
I
something.
should have wording in there that the town has right of way down the cemetery road.
Right of ingress and egress.
Right, because we need to,
20 years from now, you don't know what,
because the same
Exactly.
thing needs to happen for you.
if we're granting them access across our parcel, they're donating to get to their parcel, then
We need to have access to it too.
to the right of way.
Because like you said, 20 years from now,
Good point.
all right,
Okay.
so that's an update
But that's still just an illegal matter.
Yeah, it's all in the legal
wording.
part of it.
All right. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting this parcel of land? Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody want to abstain? All right, good. One more item.
Thank you, Karen and David.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yes.
Would like to move that we go into executive session to discuss another potential real estate transaction.
And then are we done?
All
after
right,
the
so how
meeting?
many minutes? are we gonna be in
No
there?
more than 15 minutes.
Okay,
And then that will be pretty much the end of
Yeah.
the meeting, I'm saying it for the sake of everyone.
Yes, and after that, we'll be adjourning the meeting. So I made that
I'll
motion.
make a second to adjourn.
And the first and second, all in favor? Oh, excuse me.
We don't have no miscellaneous correspondence.
Not
I
that
didn't see any.
I didn't see anything.
I was asking like Jay,
I don't have any, no.
you said adjourn, but.
Well, that's fair. That's
Well,
fair.
because you're not gonna, yeah,
We'll come back, but since we don't have any miscellaneous correspondence, we'll.
we don't. Is there anything the public wants to bring up to you before you duck into executive session? If none of them have anything, then
All right, we have a
they're
first
free,
and 2nd
they're free to go if they don't wanna hang out and see you come back out.
Aye.
Aye.
It's on top.
I mean, you're free to go anytime.
I don't know. I'm debating. You can get
I think you could